Yes, everybody, welcome back to the United View YouTube channel. We're here with episode 61 of What the Devil podcast. I am joined today by Yusuf, our regular, and Joe Blackman. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, if I had a bomb, where's the bomb?
For the first time, it's an absolute pleasure to have you, and on probably what is the biggest day by far this season for, I would say, any football club in the world. Biggest day. Nothing matters more. I don't care about the Champions League semi-finals. Who are Barcelona? Who are Arsenal? Bro, we're Man United, European semi-final against Athletic Club. I've only realised that they're actually called Athletic Club, not Athletic Bilbao.
I know.
I noticed this the other day, bro. It's weird.
Just to be fair, Ousmane Dembele also said who are Arsenal the other day.
Yeah, who are Arsenal? We are Man United.
Well, to be fair though, in the respect of Arsenal and Manchester United, we are the bigger name though.
Bro, we're the biggest club in
everybody
England.
knows who Manchester United is.
20 league titles, been there, done that, bro. Liverpool are late to the party.
But Dembele was taking it. He knows who Arsenal is. I
think they tried to sign him to be 40 fair, and he said no. But so yeah, it's a huge day for us. Huge day for United fans, for United players, for Ruben Amorim as well. This is a massive day because the club have, I'd say, somewhat let go of the Premier League, haven't they? Like we have, realistically, the fans have. When we were playing Bournemouth, it did look like the players have. There wasn't 100% urgency. Like the players know, Amorim knows, everyone knows that no one cares about the Premier League, about us. Like in terms of us at the moment, so they need to deliver today. I really, really think they need to deliver today.
Given up. I've already given up. I don't know about you, Yusuf, but I've already given up on the Premiership.
Right? Everyone
has. It's practice. That's what that is. Yeah, that's all we're using the Premiership for now, is just practice for when we go into the Europa. Simple. If we're not getting our players ready and prepared for the Europa, what's the Premiership for now anyway? Because there's nothing left in it for us whatsoever. So let's just get the kids out there, get as much players ready that we can use, and hopefully we'll have a team ready and strong enough to compete for this Europa title. Because you say it's the biggest night now. It's the biggest night so far because we are going to the finals, bro. We are going to the finals.
I do this every podcast.
I don't need to touch wood, bro.
I do. Listen, I really do.
Listen, we are going to the Europa League finals. Remember, I told you. Clip it. I don't care what camera I've got.
Bro, we're live. Everyone's watching this right now. Everyone sees it.
Clip it if you need to clip it. We will be there. Remember, I told you. Yeah? All right, then.
So obviously we're talking about how the Premier League is kind of like a practice round, right? And Amorim after the Bournemouth game, he was saying, Bournemouth set up similar to how he expects Bilbao to set up. And so it was, to some extent, that game was a bit like trying to work out what's the best way to face Athletic Club tonight. And we spoke yesterday about how United should be setting up. And so I was going to kind of pose a question to you guys about how you want to see United set up, who you want to see playing and all that, because I think that it's going to be a completely unchanged team. I think Amorim's only done it once before, playing an unchanged side 2 games in a row for United, and that was for the first leg against Lyon. And so, my mic's just fallen off. We're going to be like this now. So, I think it's for another time it's going to be unchanged team. The only thing I want to see that's different is I would rather see Bruno Fernandes playing deeper and Mainoo playing further up top, because Bilbao are very structured and they're very set in their ways defensively, right? They've conceded the least goals in La Liga. They've conceded one less than Atletico Madrid, who are renowned for being a type of team that stick back and they don't concede. So I want to see someone like Kobbie Mainoo, who's really good in the tight spaces, really good at making sure that he can keep the ball at his feet, stick the ball, and get the ball out to other players in tight spaces. And then Bruno Fernandes deeper, who can feed the runners we have in our team, such as Garnacho, such as Højlund, from a deeper position, as alongside Casemiro, obviously, who can do the same. But I would rather see Bruno play back and Mainoo stay forward, but I think it would be the same team that played against Bournemouth.
Can I just say, on Sunday when we were playing Bournemouth, for the first part of the game, I was running the London Marathon. I saw we went 1-0 down, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to keep doing my marathon. I'm chilling, like, cool. This is not going to stop me from getting a sub 4-hour marathon, which alhamdulillah, I did complete.
Hey, well done.
But, anyways, so, just, do I let Dylan have his mic done, or do I, keep talking?
No, keep going, bro. Keep going, bro, because at the end of the day, right, you know what? This is the kind of distraction that I've been having to do for myself as well. I didn't even watch the Bournemouth game, right? Mm-hmm. I deliberately took myself away from the game, and then I was forced to watch highlights because KG didn't turn up for work. So I had to turn up for work, right? So it's been a difficult watch watching Manchester United get to where we are right now, yeah, and to believe that we're going to be able to actually still, yeah. You see, the thing is, you
It
have
says
to
a
take
lot.
these,
Like you still think that we can win the Europa League.
That's it. And I don't know why, but inside of me, I believe that we will win this competition. Yeah. It's just something about Manchester United, but we'll mess up everything else. Yeah, let me be careful. I'm not on the Reckless channel. Yeah, we'll mess up everything else. Yeah, we'll mess up everything else, but we'll stick our guns in one thing. Like every season before, you know, with the previous manager, people don't like me saying his name, by the way, so I will not here. Yeah, but the previous manager won a trophy for the past 2 seasons. I almost feel like we expect it
This
now.
is an Eric Ten Hag appreciation space, right? You can say his name.
Is it?
No, I'm not. I can't.
It
I can't. You know, I know that. I don't even want to read the comments right now. I'm not even going to read the comments. I know what they'll be saying about me and talking about this man, but I'm not saying his name. I refuse to.
I'll say it. Eric
You're
Ten
too
Hag.
scarred.
What do you think about? Anyway, let me not do that. Okay, no, let me not do this. Okay, honestly, I think that it's going to be a challenge for us. Yeah, a real big challenge. But I honestly think with. For some reason, Manchester United just turn up when they want to, innit? And Europa League is something that we definitely want. And that's something I think
like everyone understands the importance of it now with how bad the league season has gone. But with regards to the team, yeah, I agree on like it'll probably be nonchalant. The only thing is I would switch the Mainoo and Bruno thing, and that is mainly because so I was actually reading the Athletics breakdown on Athletic Bilbao or Athletic Club on the way here on the train, and they, yeah, like Bournemouth, they'll sit in a very like compact 4-4-2. Bournemouth are a little bit more like aggressive in terms of their pressing, whereas Bilbao will pick their moments a bit more. They're a bit more happy to sit in that shape if the moment's not right. But when they press, like, wow, they press. But
that's scary times.
I would have, because they like to block centre, it's quite a narrow 4-2, the 4-4-2, they block the centre a lot. I would like to have Mainoo deep because then he can drop. Someone might be on his ass, but Mainoo we know has the quality to turn and beat that guy, and that like breaks them down through the middle. Even obviously we spoke about Ousmane Dembele and Arsenal the other day. That Arsenal, like that goal against Arsenal started, and so much of their build-up was just Dembele dropped and they found him in the middle. But for the goal specifically, you saw him drop in the centre forward position. The defend, like he's dropped so deep, the centre back's not going to follow him that deep. The ball's gone into him. He's turned and he genuinely like he takes about 6 players out of the game just by that turn. Like through the middle, you just collapse them completely. Now I know Amorim doesn't like to play through the middle. He prefers to go through the wide areas, but having somebody who, I mean, Mainoo can drift out wide as well, and that's where maybe the 10 might suit him. But having someone who can get that ball turn and beat someone. That's how you break down a compact structure, because like, look, they're gonna shuffle across if we try to switch the ball. They're gonna block a lot of passing lanes. You've got to have somebody who can just take the ball and like make something happen with it. And I think Mainoo deep is more likely to do that with.
I would argue that Bruno is better at that.
In terms of turning with the ball.
Making something happen.
But I'm talking about like, in terms of dribbling.
Oh, fair enough.
In terms of dribbling, that's what I meant. Sorry, should have clarified. I meant like someone who takes the ball, who's going to beat someone with it and like suddenly create chaos. I feel like Mainoo is better at that. Then Fernandes has improved at it a lot, but Mainoo is just like incredible at this, taking the ball, turning, beating his man, and he knows when to release the ball as well, quite well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could maybe argue that Fernandes could start deeper. You try have Fernandes find Mainoo. Fernandes, like they both drop a little bit, but Fernandes can always drop from the 10. There's ways you can work it, but I think what we are really going to need is a little bit of small space quality and like some dynamic players to really break down this compact structure. And can I just say as well, Athletic Bilbao or Athletic Club are so strong at home. Their home record is really good.
Hold on. What are you saying right now? You sounding a bit
I'm
defeated.
saying, no,
You're
not
sounding a bit
Listen,
defeatist right now. I'm not liking your energy, bro.
Listen.
But you're glazing, tickling, I'm not going to say what on here, yeah?
I have never, on this podcast, ever predicted us to lose. Can I just say?
That's true, he's never done that.
Even if it was obvious we were going to lose, I have never in my life predicted we were going to lose. Every single time I predict we win.
Yusuf, what are you saying for tonight?
We're winning.
No, I want a better prediction than that. What are you saying, bro? What are you saying for tonight? Talk with chess, bro. You sound, everything you just did now was saying about how good they are, how much they're going to do this, and you know, they're strong here. And all you've done is make me scared.
But
Fill me with belief
but
now.
Then I'm saying how we can beat them as well.
Fill me with that belief.
Could be Mainoo. So I think, let me think.
You said he's good in the inside lane.
Good in those tight spaces. That's the thing. We need to have him beat players. The thing is, Højlund scored a goal. We know Højlund takes confidence from those goals. If Højlund shows up, all right, and he's like now, like he's got that ice flowing through his veins. He's like, right, now I'm feeling it. Now I'm charged up. Now I want to go score goals. Yeah. I think we could be seeing something tonight.
That's what I want to hear. See, we need to rally the troops. Are we not here to rally the Man
right,
United fans?
It's such a different energy, and I think it's all down to those last 10 minutes in the Lyon game, right? I think just we go into Premier League games. When we went into the Wolves game, went into the Bournemouth game, and it was kind of the energy was a bit weird, right? It was kind of just like, oh, it's another Premier League game, blah, 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 blah. And it's the Europa League game against I'd say an opposition who's potentially better than either of those two. I'm so much more up for it, and I feel like everyone's more up for it. We're in Spain, where traditionally, United haven't been fantastic against Spanish opposition.
Looking fresh today. Look at you in your.
I feel like I'm in Spain, bro. I'm just going to. Yeah,
look at you looking fresh, though. Look at you looking fresh,
I feel like I'm in Spain.
I should have wore white today. But looking good.
I just like.
The only color you did where you spilled coffee on.
Why are you telling me the truth for? This guy. Yes, I spilled coffee on myself. People. But this guy. You see, Yusuf, we're supposed to be friends. They call me Yusuf Blackman on my other channel. We're supposed to be bros, man. Get out of here. You exposed me on the memes, bro. Anyway, no, go on, sorry.
But it just everything surrounding this game, I mean, it all could come crashing down. That is it's an unfortunate thing we have to be aware of. Bilbao could score, 7 minutes in and suddenly it's like,
Williams,
shit.
23.
Yeah.
What
But
are we doing? No, but listen, if they do, we're coming back. If it's one thing I'll say of recent, especially in games where we won it, we found a way. Especially in the Lyon game.
I agree, yeah.
The Lyon game is filled with so much confidence. It felt like old Fergie days. How can you not be filled with confidence after seeing that we can turn something around if it does go down?
Oh, no, I do. What's with United at the moment, which is both, I'd say, it's a good thing today, but bad thing overall, is that the club need a reason to turn up.
Yes.
I feel like the players need a reason to turn up. So when we played Arsenal away in the FA Cup ages ago, 1-1, obviously we 1-0 up, and then Diogo Diallo got sent off and they scored. With 10 men, United, we showed up. We played 60 minutes with 10 men against Arsenal and then beat them on penalties. Against Man City, when we're 1-0 down away from home, and then we needed someone to turn up, Ahmad turns up, won a penalty, scored the winner, right? Because it's a derby game. Against Lyon. Even as well against Real Sociedad, when it was 1-1 after the first leg, they then score a penalty 6 minutes in at Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes then scores a hat-trick.
Come on.
Right? We come back and we...
Talk up the ting, bro.
These players, they need a reason to turn up, which is a bit of a red flag longer term, because, you want your players to be turning up for every single minute of every single week, every single game. But right now, fantastic, because we really, really, really need them to turn up today.
Yeah.
And I feel like it might not necessarily happen this leg, but I think it will happen, is that we will be able, because we're going to be cautious this leg, right? I kind of hope that we don't come out all guns blazing in the first minute of the first leg away from home. This is a team with a really good defensive record, and we realistically, let's say we end up losing this leg 2-1, I'd be overall okay with that, because we still got a solid chance bringing everyone back to Old Trafford. They're coming back to our home. And I don't want us to try and go full guns blazing and then lose 3-0.
They've been some big teams at home, by the way.
That's what I mean.
This kind of year alone. And Ernesto Valverde obviously is a fantastic manager.
This is what I mean. So I feel like we're up for this game, and I really want stuff to happen, but I don't want to see something as chaotic as last night's game, the Barca-Inter match, because that was just ridiculous. But I also don't think it will be as bland as the Arsenal-PSG game the night before that.
Are you sure, though? Because if you're saying that we both need to...
In the way it was one goal, and it was kind of just like
but you just
PSG were just doing well.
You've told me that they're defensively really well set up.
Yeah, really well set up.
Really well set up.
Very direct.
Amrim has been known in certain games when we don't want to concede to sit back in a back 10, you might as well say. Yeah. In a back 10, yeah? So I'm not going to be surprised if that's what we see and we try to get some sort of counter-attack going, if I'm being honest with you. That's what
I think that would be a decent way to play.
It might be that he tries to entice pressure from them and create moments where they think, okay, now's the time to jump, but then actually we, then go a bit more direct and try send maybe Hoyland in the channels or something. And this is where actually Luke Shaw is on this, because obviously we spoke about this yesterday, and I said I think Luke Shaw has to play. Now the reason I think Luke Shaw has got to play, there's two reasons. One of them, I'll start with the out of possession, right? When we're defending, their wingers are their danger men. They're the guys who go really direct. Oyhan Sunset's their best player probably, but he's not available, which is huge for us, by the way, because he's a really, really good player. But they're danger men in terms of getting up the pitch, causing chaos and attack are their wide men, the brothers, Iñaki and Nico Williams. They're going to be very direct. I think that having Shaw as one of the wide centre-backs just makes us a bit more secure when we're defending out wide, 1v1, and we know Shaw is quite a good 1 versus 1 defender. But in terms of with the ball as well, all right, if you want to break him down, you need, like, your build-up needs to be good. You need players who can solve problems in that build-up. We've missed that a lot with Lisandro Martinez, but Luke Shaw is a player. He can break lines. He can dribble past you and like.
He's been rubbish though. I've been trying to hold.
Well, he's not been rubbish. He's just not played.
He's been rubbish the last couple of games. He wasn't great.
He was
the
great
thing is,
against
I mean, to be
Bournemouth.
fair, Bournemouth. Like, I mean, I didn't watch. I heard he got a lot better when he moved to wing back.
He did.
He did help.
He did.
create
In the
He was
last
better at
20
wing
minutes,
back. He was
yeah.
better
But
at wing back than
Do
he
you
was
know?
as
Do you
left
know?
centre
Do you know what though? Like, he has been out for a long time. He is getting back into it, but you know the quality he has, and you need somebody who can get through him a little bit with those carries, with those passes, and also we know his passing range is fantastic.
Hold
Like
on.
we've seen.
What defenders are available that you are picking
You're-
Luke Shaw over them? That's
Victor
what I'm going to
Lindelof.
ask you.
Victor Lindelof.
But who's available right now? Maguire's available, right?
Maguire,
Yeah. Maguire's
Lindelof,
hard.
Shaw, and Euro. That's it.
That's it.
Delete will
Yeah, so you
start.
got and do you,
Mazraoui will
unless you want to
probably
start
be
with Victor.
Mazraoui's there.
Yeah, but
will probably
Mazraoui's
get
going to be wing back because Diallo's not injured.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about what?
No, hold on.
So this is this conversation I want to have because I want to say, okay, so if you don't want to see Luke Shaw at left centre back, what's your defensive lineup going to be?
Do you want to see him at wing back over?
Unless you want to play Harry Amas at left wing back, Dorgu at right wing back, and then Shaw bench with Euro. That's the other option we have.
That sounds so much better. to
But
me.
do you want an inexperienced 18-year-old in the first away leg?
Yeah, because we're coming home.
and do you
Because
want-
we're coming home. Yeah, because you know what? Yeah, in the first leg, yeah, you put on someone who's ready to take that chance. Yeah, you already know the insecurities that these other players have when it comes to these kind of games, right? So why not trust a youngster to be dynamic and bold and go for it?
But then, alternatively, when we know we're facing a team who like their biggest threats with their the guy, I forgot his name.
Iñaki
The guy,
Williams.
no, the guy out.
The guy that's out.
The guy that's out.
I
When
can't say his
with
name.
him
I'm not
out,
even trying.
right? their biggest threat is out wide. You sure you don't want people who are secure defensively to counteract that
mean,
more than
think-
Harry Amas?
I think with regards to you saying we'll take with the same up, I've got a feeling that it will be because, right, you have Shaw and Euro as your wide centre backs who are good, who they can defend 1v1, okay. But then you've got Mazraoui as one wing back and Dorgu as your other wing back, and they can drop and double on those players. And I've got a feeling that might be why
I agree.
it's like that. But I really think, I know Shaw's not been great since he come back, generally. But we know the quality he has with the ball, and we need, if we want to be able to break them down, we need the players who have the quality with the ball. Like Shaw, say we've got the ball high up and they're camped in their defensive third. Look at Shaw's ability to cross the ball. Like,
That's fair.
who in our team can cross the ball
Shaw
like that?
created, by the way, when he came. Who did he come on against the game for? Well, there was one game where he came off the bench and then he created for like 12. It was against Newcastle. That was it. Came on against Newcastle as a left centre back and created the most chances for United that game. He created 3 chances in his 12 minutes. Bruno Fernandes created 2. No one else created any. Right, and then against Bournemouth, admittedly it was when he turned more to wing. He was kind of at wing back against Bournemouth, but also Garnacho was with him and he was behind Garnacho, so he was playing a little bit more as just a wide left centre back, rather than an actual
That's
wing
what
back.
I've seen
And
so
he put in like 4 or 5 crosses.
I even
and
seen overlapped in that game.
But then he was the one that was the one that put the cross in for Ugarte to then flick onto Højlund, who then scored. And he was the one who created the goal.
As well, like if you've got a Mazraoui as one wing back and Shaw as your wide centre back, you can always have that little kind of rotational effect where Mazraoui drops into more natural
It's
right back
almost like a
position.
Yeah.
It creates a situational 4. That's the thing. Like, I think is personally very important when you play 3-back systems to have.
To be able to switch to the 4
to
when,
be able to
when
make
you're
those
overloading the
situational
side.
fours.
I agree.
But yeah, even a long ball. So let's say they try to press us nice and high. Shaw can play that long ball for Garnacho or Højlund running in behind in the channel. We know he's pinpoint with those. So I really think his in-possession qualities are going to be quite important for us. But I hear he's not been at his best, but then
I think I don't like Shaw in that.
You see, I can see that in the way of you might want to get rid of him this summer, but like this game is
Just
as I said before, this game is so in isolation, right? I think that's how everyone should view this game.
Okay.
It's completely in isolation. Forget everything else that's happened this season, the last whatever number of years. It's a European semi-final. It's different. This is what. So I was talking about this with Robbie just before we started. It's a European semi-final, and just like basically all semi-finals and like maybe like big games in the league and stuff, they are realistically, they're isolated games, they're isolated days, they're isolated moments. There's no, Like, we don't care about the Lyon game now. Obviously, it's
we
great.
don't
The
care
Lyon
about
game is
League
amazing, but
football,
who cares? Like, we need to win this game. This is what we need to win. We
Forget
need to
league
over the
football,
2 legs.
forget
Exactly.
anything that's happened.
It's a European semi-final, and so therefore, I think you need to take everything at face value today. Be that, like, despite Shaw's injuries, we need to think about his qualities, think about who is the best player to start right now, today, just for this game. So I'm talking about, like, I don't care, like, maybe Shaw goes in the summer, and maybe it might be better to play Lenny Yoro there or Amas there longer term to get them experience, to, you know, help them on their careers. But right now, today, we need to win. We don't need to win this game, but we need to win the 2 legs. And Shaw is I would say, is the best option on paper right now for this game and the game next week.
I mean, I hope you're right, because you're probably right in the sense of, like, it's going to be the same lineup in it, because
I think it will be.
there's a whole reason why he started with such a strong lineup on the weekend, because he wanted those players to be ready.
It'll be a strong lineup. I think a strong lineup today, and then we'll have the most ridiculous lineup against Brentford.
I think we're going to do well. I think we're going to do well tonight, guys. You know,
I think
you guys
it'll
gonna
be a very
surprised.
like gritty game.
We're going to
very,
come
very
out the
gritty
better
game.
defensive team when this watch tonight. We're going to come out.
Dylan,
We're gonna come out as a
how
better
badly are we
defensive
getting
team.
cooked in the comments today?
To be fair, the comments, there's a lot of love for you, Joe. Everyone's saying big up. Good to see you. Yeah, so all you guys, any of you watching, please, in the live comments, let us know what you think about how wrong we are, what you want to see. There's been, some people have been saying 2-1 United. Some people saying Mainoo's ability to work in tight spaces is one of the best in the world from Skiliano. Someone called you delusional, Yusuf, for never predicting us to lose a game.
Listen,
but it's
all
true,
right,
you
listen.
have never predicted us to lose a game.
Can I just say, all right, there is like objective analysis, all that whatsoever, but like sometimes just be a fan and like.
I am a fan.
So
yeah.
enjoy it.
Enjoy it, man.
That's all I do anyway. I don't,
yeah, cool.
Try
I'll admit,
and enjoy it.
I know
enjoy
I'm
it.
being delusional when I predict us to win every single week.
Oh,
but
someone says you
I
look like
wouldn't change
Maswari
it.
as well.
Huh?
As well, you've got the usual
Hey,
Maswari
he's got that
comparisons.
Maswari
Another-
look, doesn't he look? Is that racist? Is that underbelly thing? Is that underbelly? Who said that? Who said that? Anyway.
Do you know, it's ever since my fan cam with Flex against the Fulham game, that thing came out. But since my actual video with Mazraoui,
Yeah, bro.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, bro. He
It
did it.
went-
He did a quick fire questions with Mazraoui for Man United.
could they
And
not?
it was just like it was so funny, bro. All the
the
comments
comments
were
were
that
Who's
is son.
Maswari? Who's giving the interview here?
do you know the funny thing is, a minute before we recorded that, I asked him, and he was like, "I don't see it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't know."
The comments-
But you
the
never
comments
see
were
it
quality.
yourself. You never see it yourself. Someone used to. I'm not going to say what they used to call me. I'm going to leave it.
But yeah, Euro definitely starts ahead of Shaw. Amas has looked good and probably deserves to start ahead of Shaw. Nick, who obviously can't make it this week, but is a regular on this show all the time, says, as long as we don't lose tonight, we're through, I reckon. Take a 1-1 draw back to Old Trafford and it's happy days.
Thanks, Nick.
Like, yeah, thank you, Nick, for the
Positive.
for the positivity. 1-1 draw.
1-1. No, we win.
Overhead Kick TV says 3-1 United. Kaya
3-1.
says Blackman fits this cast.
Why? Because you needed one.
Yeah.
That's why. Because you needed one. Look. Thank you.
Marcel, come back. But
No. Can we keep Joe, please?
yeah, no, it's good because it's a good day. Sun's out. European semi-final. It's
I'm
a good
happy.
day. It's good
You have
vibes.
to be- why are you not on vibes today?
We have to be positive.
You man need more energy.
It's very, very KG.
Listen,
I gotta say.
This is where I come from. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I'm representing the Reclasia right now, guys. But I'm telling you, how can you not be filled with energy today?
I am.
I'm
Bro,
a public transport
I had a
guy,
coffee
yeah?
this morning.
I'm not
I've
driving.
almost finished
I've got-
an energy drink as well.
I've got
It's-
public transport to get here, yeah? I was out there on the train watching fan contact going, I can't wait to get on the show because I am going to be hyped for the Manchester United match today. How you...
It's crazy that it's tonight, isn't it?
I'm
Like,
going
it's
to be
already settled
more
in.
hyped next week on my journey up.
Huh?
On my journey up to Manchester.
Yeah, he's going to the return leg.
Okay, nice. And I want to vlog. I want to see. I want to see the hype. I want to see you there with the most. I will transfer you my reckless energy, bro. Take it there and bring us a win back.
I was going to say...
we're winning.
Bro, you need
Yusuf-
to release an actual energy drink. Reckless energy.
Reckless energy. We come
Yusuf
with
was
it.
there last week as well. Or sorry, 2 weeks ago for the Lyon game.
Oh,
He was there. He saw it. All
so
three
you,
goals.
You had the hype. You must
had
have, that must have been infectious.
I had the
So
hype.
where is the hype, bro? You should be more hyped than me. You witnessed the greatness live.
That's just like the peak of my football fan career.
So
To be
so
fair,
then
that
you-
probably is.
You know, I got someone on the channel, yeah, you remind me of him. His name's Kennedy, yeah? It's like he gets hyped and then his battery just drains. Yeah, like, that was the peak of his energy. And then you're sitting here now, like, that was it.
I'm building it up. I'm picking my moment.
Okay.
I'm choosing
I'm
the
waiting
moment.
for the vlog.
Ooh,
I'm
this
waiting
is a
for
good
the
point.
The vlog.
Well, just so reading some more comments, Overhead Kick TV has said this game has Casemiro written all over it. I agree with that.
Yes,
But he's a big game Cass. It's big
This
game
is what
Cass.
I'm saying.
Big game
That's a
Casemiro.
really good. We've not spoken about Casemiro yet. It's a really good point. Casemiro. You know what? I've been saying this for a few weeks. Casemiro's obviously been so up for the Europa League games. He was like the catalyst for us coming back against Lyon, winning the penalty and getting 2 assists. I reckon, although obviously Casemiro, he'll want the club to win the trophy. I reckon he's on a personal mission as well, because he's not got the Europa League trophy. If you haven't won trophies before and you win the Europa League, you're kind of like, oh, well, I want to win the Champions League. I want to win Premiership titles and all of that. Casemiro has won La Liga. He's won like Copa America. He's got 4 or 5 Champions League trophies. He hasn't got the Europa League trophy. Suddenly, I think for Casemiro, this is a huge trophy to win because it's another tournament in his bag.
Another Europe.
Because he's got the FA Cup, he's got the Carabao Cup, obviously he's not got the Premier League. But he would then have 2 English trophies, both like major European trophies, because what is the Conference League?
I feel like he kind of wants to stay at United as well.
He definitely does. He's on a massive contract and he loves this club.
I'm sorry, but why shouldn't he? What has he done wrong? Apart from got big wages. No, he didn't give himself wages, did he? What has Casemiro done wrong as a player?
Like,
he's always tried his best.
You know, it wasn't all his fault that he dropped. I feel like people wanted him to drop off because they didn't like the whole wage point. Do you know? People say this, Ineos are trying to get rid of all the big earners, when it comes to the whole Rashford situation, okay? But then they feed into that themselves with their, it's not consistent. If you're going to do that about Rashford, then why are you then saying, Casemiro is on big wages, he's a mercenary,
He's doing his job.
I think Casemiro has been fantastic this season, personally. Bar like a couple of off games he had. I think
Casemiro's been good this season.
He's been good the whole time he's been here, apart from that one season.
Shocking, which is
one
of his 3
everybody
seasons.
admitted that it was because he was getting played by himself in a big, massive gap. He was the centre of the donut. Do you know what I mean? Under Ten Hag, so he was getting exposed.
Yeah, look, I think that Casemiro, in his first season, he said it himself, he thinks as an individual, his best individual ever season was his first season at United. He said
that season he just turned
he was
Superman.
outrageously good. Second season, I think it's a mix of he was being exposed by the fact that he was having to play as a lone DM, at times as a centre-back, but also as well, he had some absolutely horrendous performances.
But do you know what I'll say as well?
Do
you know what
I think in part due to the fact that he wasn't being utilised properly, but I also think there was an extent of because he just was really bad.
No, do you know what I
the
think
fact that he's
as well?
come back means if he stays, I'm more than happy with that.
I personally
like
think, all right, he's had a physical
He's also
drop
really
off,
funny.
definitely. But like last season, obviously it came quite sharp. It's quite hard to adjust to your body at that point. This season, in my opinion, he's adjusted to his body, and what really confirmed it to me. You know the Sociedad away, the goal we scored where he
Xerxes.
turned through, that way he turned through pressure and then played like a ridiculous Trivela out to Diallo, right? That in that game in general, he was taking the ball, turning under pressure. Everyone was saying he couldn't turn before. He's adjusted to his body. He's playing differently to how he used to play. If you look at how he played in his first season, how he's played through his career, he's playing very differently now, in my opinion.
He's very much maximised what he's got left, is the best way to put it. And if he can produce that for another, because his next season will be his last season, contract-wise, his contract isn't up, because this is 4th season at the club, and he's signed a 4-year deal. But if he can continue it, I would be more than happy.
Do you know what I think would be great? I think if he won the Europa League,
he's so massive for the dressing room.
If he won the Europa League, he put out an Instagram post being like, "The football's still with me."
Yeah,
if football hasn't left me, you get me.
Fuck you, Jamie Carragher.
Do you know he's in his interview right at the end of last season, he said, "I felt like the way people were talking about me was disrespectful."
It was
100%. It was. Who is Jamie Carragher?
All of you disrespectful people talking about Casemiro like he's not the biggest winner in the whole club right now. Who could talk to him?
Who is Jamie Carragher to be telling Casemiro, leave the football for football leaves you, for me? But, as well...
What was Carragher won?
He's backed it up.
Compared to Casemiro, that is, actually.
Casemiro has backed... When I said people talking about me disrespectfully, he's come out this season and backed it up. He's backed his talk.
I think since January, I think he's backed it, because he did have a couple of games. Admittedly, as well, that's because I think Amorim didn't know how to use him. And Amorim's admitted it. He admitted it, and since that change, where both, I think, how you said, Casemiro's learned how to play kind of with his new and ageing and obviously slightly falling apart body as you do as a professional footballer when you hit
I don't wanna hear
your
that.
mid-30s. But
What are you
Amorim's
talking about? How old
also
are you? You offended me just so much right now. How old are you?
24.
That's why you said that rubbish, yeah? Because I will beat
But
you.
it's true, it
I will
happens.
beat you in a foot
It
race
happens.
right now. We will go outside and race right now and I will beat you. I am 38. I will beat you in a race, yeah? Tell you what
What about
Casemiro.
a marathon?
You know, I used
don't
to
know
be
about
a
marathon. I
county.
didn't do marathon.
I would say
beat
I
you.
did used to be a county level sprinter.
1 second, I don't care. I said I'll beat you in a race. Yeah, if I go outside and beat you in a race at my age, yeah, then this doesn't matter. The whole what you just said is moot. Yeah, because I'll tell you right
You're
now.
fine.
Casemiro.
Either way.
because he's levels,
Alright.
bro. And I feel like this is the thing. Yeah, you see what you just said there. Just because you hit a certain age, like you said, he uses his body differently now. He produces his football differently now. Put Ugarte next to him, let Ugarte run, and he'll give you.
No.
those
Can we
balls.
like, just keep Ugarte out of the equation, please?
Why?
He doesn't like Ugarte.
But I'm saying him to break up play so that Casemiro doesn't have to slide and dive into tackles
But
like he
does
used
he
to.
actually do that, or does he just get skipped past most of the
No,
time?
we're not going to talk about this now. So this
No,
is
look, I get what you mean, but what I mean is Casemiro's had to adjust, right, as he's got older, as everyone does. Like Modric's done it, Bruno's doing it, Ronaldo did it,
you
everyone's
do it
doing
right.
it. And also Amorim's also adjusted to compensate for the player Casemiro is now. So what Amorim was doing originally, maybe Casemiro would have been able to execute that 6 years ago, 7 years ago, right? He can't now. But Amorim's adjusting, Casemiro's adjusting, and everyone's winning because of it. So therefore, if this can keep it up to obviously last games of the season, and if he can keep it up over the summer and into next season, I'd be more than happy to keep him, even if his wages are crazy.
Has he only got 1 year left, right?
I think he signed a 4-year deal, and then the club will have an option to extend it. Probably, they always do. But last year is, as of this, at the moment, it's his last year of his contract. Yeah.
So in terms of lineup, we're going Onana's in goal, Yoro, Maguire, Shaw probably in the back three, Mazraoui, Dorgu as wing backs, Casemiro and Mainoo into the midfield pivot, Fernandes, Garnacho, Højlund front three.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to see Garnacho on the right, not the left, by the way, because it forces him to cut back.
100%. Yeah.
I'm sick of him shooting, bro. I'm sick of him shooting.
Do you know, like every single time I go to Trafford now, I just see Højlund raging at him like 3 times per game.
Yeah, it's horrible to see, actually. It's like, is there beef?
I don't think there is. I think Garnacho, because Garnacho does this with everybody.
I think the Garnacho thinks he's better than him, and he thinks he has a better chance of
No,
scoring.
Garnacho is just a shooting-oriented player. It's how he's built, and it's drilled into him.
But I mean, there's a point where you have to be like, look, Cristiano Ronaldo was a part of Manchester United, yeah? He used to do too many step-overs when he first came here. It was built in him. It got beaten out of him as well.
Yeah, but
You understand what I'm saying?
that's over the course of 4 or 5 seasons. Garnacho is 20.
He's been here for a good 3 seasons.
Garnacho's on the arc to becoming a more rounded footballer because he's hit his 20s.
Can I also say Garnacho's actually been played too much, in my opinion.
100%.
Massively. He played 38 starts in a row last season.
He's been thrown in the deep end, like, and actually that's not. It's hit a point where it's actually been negative for his development. But I reckon Højlund and Casemiro might get goals tonight.
That sounds very Europa League. I don't know about us scoring 2 or 3. I don't know about us scoring 2 or 3 goals, but I can see Casemiro having, obviously, as you said, he's got a huge potential for this game. Because as well, we're playing a Spanish opposition. Well, Casemiro doesn't know anything better than a Spanish opposition because he played like 7-8 years in Spain. And the only thing I would change, I'd say, from Yusuf's lineup is, as I said before, I would swap and have Mainoo further up top because I think as well Mainoo just plays better there, and he'll be able to impact, like he'll use the skills better there. But I'm not overly fussed either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of if it's Fernandes deep, Mainoo high, or the other way around, they'll rotate a lot. They'll shift, float around a lot. I think it'll be a really interesting game to watch. Yeah,
I want to move on to talk a little bit about the boy who's back. Amad Diallo, or Amad. He's that, bro. The number of compilations I was watching yesterday when I saw that he was in the squad and he had returned to training, everything. It's different. I was thinking as well, it's crazy how much has changed for him in the last 12 months. It was around about now where Ten Hag gave him a couple starts and he scored a nice goal against Newcastle, but then he didn't start in the FA Cup final and all of that.
Can you just say that again for that camera? What did Ten Hag do? Could you just say it in that camera? Can you just look at that camera and just say what you said Ten Hag did? Because I was having an argument.
He started starting him.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I would say about a whole season too late.
I agree, but he did start him the season, didn't he?
and then he dropped him for the FA Cup final. Admittedly, we won the final, so
for
who
the
does
final,
what?
there's a very specific plan.
But
Put
Ahmad then
respect
came
on
back.
him,
He came back. He came back under
guy.
Ten Hag,
Finally,
right?
for the
And
Ten
he
Hag
won our
plan.
Player of the Month for August. Ahmad did. He won our Player of the Month. I think it was August or September, one of those two. And then he started getting dropped again.
Yeah.
And then he just like wasn't playing. And then Amorim comes in, and from minute one, he's suddenly been genuinely one of the best players in England
he's
until
amazing.
his injury.
I love him.
It's crazy to think that was the same player that Ten Hag was starting Omari Forson over. Bro, it's like
This is one of the things where I'm like,
I'll never get
I've
over
always
it.
hit Ten Hag one.
I will never get over it, bro. Omari Forson. Like, all respect to Omari Forson. I don't know. I'm not sure where he is now, but it's like.
He was trying to find new gems, bro. What's the problem? He was
Because he had one.
He was trying
He
to
had
find
Ahmad.
more gems, bro.
You don't need more gems. Our biggest gems right there.
Can I just say, at the time we made, to date, the worst signing in our history,
Anthony.
Before we did that, I said Ahmad was a better player at that point in time already.
Yeah.
And like, okay, this is before the Sunderland loan, which, okay, Ahmad needed and it was great for him, but Ahmad at that point was already a better player.
I think, you know what, actually, I'm going to go a bit of a tangent at the moment, but you know how there's a lot of talk about Lamine Yamal?
Yes.
How he's played now 100 games for Barcelona, and everyone's going, oh, okay, at 28, 29, his hamstrings are going to probably end up falling off because he's playing so much football at a young age.
Rubbish.
Ahmad, and same with Saka, right, because he's been playing since he was like 17, 18 years old, week in, week out for Arsenal. He's now had multiple hamstring problems. Ahmad hasn't played a lot of football. Like, and he played a consistent football with Atalanta's youth team and everything. Came to us, didn't play loads, played for our youth team, went out on loan to Rangers, didn't do loads, came back, and then he had a full season at Sunderland. Then he came back again, he didn't play loads of football. Now he's playing loads of football at 22, 23 years old. I think there's potential that could really benefit him down the line. Because I know he's had injuries, but they've not been muscle problems. They've been impact injuries and freak injuries, which you get over and your ligaments in your bones heal, right?
Relatively quickly.
Yeah. And I think down the line that could be really good for him because he's not been overplayed. Now he's 22, turning 23 soon-ish. He could end up. He's a lot fresher than a lot of the 22, 23-year-olds around at the moment.
Like, Ahmad, we thought we were gone for the season. He's now he's back in training. We're talking about he's in the travelling squad for tonight. He'll probably be on the bench. I don't know if he'll play.
This question I was going to ask was, should he get 10, 15 minutes now, or do we leave him, give him 20 minutes Newcastle, and do we try and start him next week? Brentford, yeah, and then start him the next week or not? Like, how quickly should Amorim force him back into the squad, or should he be patient?
I think it's a really difficult call. We do need Ahmad, but then we need Ahmad for the long term as well. I don't want to. I'm in two minds about this. I really feel like it's dangerous to risk him, but at the same time, I feel like 10 minutes he could really make a difference for us. I know he's been out for a long time, but
That's what I'm with.
What I was saying earlier about that narrow 4-4-2 that Bilbao play, I was literally looking at some stuff of this, and I was thinking, like, if we had Ahmad, like, all it takes is one moment, because cool, they'll shuffle over at the switch, but all you need is one person to be late to shuffle, or they shuffle but Ahmad beats a guy on the wing, and like, we just don't have any other wide threat in this team. Like 1v1. And Garnacho's is just not the same level. Like, I would say, in terms of if we exclude Ahmad, from the available players, our most reliable 1v1 player in this team out wide is Sam Mazraoui.
Reliable, I understand. In terms of you can
not
count
best,
on to
but
try
reliable,
and
Mazraoui most of the time will beat his guy.
I thought he was going to say
1v1.
someone else so bad. I didn't expect to hear Mazraoui. But okay, but yeah, I hear it. He's reliable. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, he's the one. If you get the ball wide 1v1, he'll probably beat his guy because he's.
And also, I trust Mazraoui to make the right decision.
Yes,
that's the issue with a lot of our 1v1s in terms of Dorgu and Garnacho and stuff when they're out wide. They're not, and even Højlund as well, not necessarily making the right decision when they're 1v1.
Especially that final pass.
Exactly. Mazraoui makes the right final pass. I'd say Diallo, to an extent, makes the right final pass when he actually gets there, but he doesn't get there a lot of the time.
Sometimes Ahmad does. He tries. I think Diallo tries to cut it back too much, and this is another thing. Højlund will be running to the 6-yard box, and Diallo will always try and hit the space behind him as a cutback.
Thinking McTominay's still there.
I think our wing backs all need to learn how to cross better. This is one thing we don't do enough.
I tell you what, this is one thing Amas does well.
Where's crossing gone?
Amas does this well.
Amas, he's been whipping balls in, to be fair. I like Amas. I think he's been well overdue this.
Yes.
I don't, to this day, do not know why Ten Hag didn't bring him to Wembley in the Community Shield. That haunts me.
Because he was so good in pre-season, right? And then he wasn't even on the bench. He wasn't on the bench. The reason we didn't win the Community Shield because Garnacho scored with like 8 minutes to go, and then we put Facundo Pellistri at right back and Diallo at left back, and then we conceded. If you had Harry Amas to bring on for 10 minutes at the end, keep Diallo at right back, Bernardo Silva can't put that cross in, right? The header isn't scored, or whoever put the cross in, header isn't scored. Amas is at left back, and we have 2 defenders in defence. And I think we win that game, but that's by the by.
Why do we keep giving this Ten Hag? Why do you keep bringing up Ten Hag and slandering him?
Because he's a... I'm not going to finish that sentence.
What's wrong with your boy? Your guy?
Scarred, bro. I'm scarred.
Ten Hag is like probably, if Xabi Alonso goes to Madrid, I think Ten Hag will take over at Leverkusen. I'm looking forward to it personally.
I think that Ten Hag's a good manager. I just think that he didn't make the right choices with us because it didn't work out and he made some bad choices.
And I feel like, you know what, one thing, because I'm not here often, I'm just going to say this about Ten Hag, I'm going to leave it there, yeah? The pressure mounted on him in a situation that I think got out of hand for him in terms of choices like with Rashford, persisting with, he got rid of our goalkeeper for Onana. That was the first red flag for me when Onana, the whole thing, I was always saying leave David De Gea alone. He wasn't a priority. That was the thing.
To be honest, though, I think he actually was.
I'm sorry, bro, but this is one thing we're going to disagree on because he was a priority to go, and then we bring in worse. But I get that there's one thing to need to move someone on, yeah? But priority on the pitch, bro. We needed a striker, we got Højlund. We needed a midfielder, we got Mount. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we didn't make
the right decision.
That's
the striker. The striker.
I think it was right to let De Gea go, but
not at that point. Wrong point.
But in the way of you had to, it wasn't just like keeping De Gea because he had a contract. You'd have had to negotiate a new contract where he probably would have. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. It was a right decision because his contract was ending. It wasn't worth renewing him, if that makes sense. But bringing in Onana
was a mistake.
Probably there were better players you could have probably. I can't name one off the top of my head, but
everybody
probably
got gassed
are
because
right.
of the Champions League final. That's what everybody.
But it's just
gassed.
Look, I think a lot of the issues over the last couple of years at United have been a collective issue rather than just purely on the players. For example, Onana, I think it's partly him obviously making the mistakes he has, but also partly him not necessarily being used correctly and all of that kind.
How can you use a goalkeeper any different?
Do you know what? Like in terms of how we build up and stuff, because I think we know this guy has got brilliant quality on the ball, but we don't use it well enough. And it has a knock-on effect.
He's useless, bro. He's useless.
Yeah,
he's
and that's
he's not a midfielder. Why don't he need to be good on the ball for? Like, do you know the funny thing is, anytime he's been under pressure, because what I've noticed for Manchester United now, because what you started worrying me about earlier is that you said that athletic team are going to press on a madness, and from watching Bournemouth on the weekend press us, and do you remember the first goal? The very first goal. You didn't.
I was running a marathon.
I had to watch.
He was.
You must have done some replays or something.
I watched the Højlund goal. But
we got overpressed.
When I tell you something, that first goal, it was just because we were scared of the press. We were scared of the press. I've watched it back about 3 or 4 times, and it's like, wow, did we just really look that scared? We looked so scared of the press. And if they're going to be pressing us worse, I worry for us tonight, because the likes of Dorgu and what's his name, the Onana, they don't handle press very well. As good as he is, you claim that he is on the ball. I don't see it. Because every time he gets pressed, he does.
I think Onana.
Onana's actually all right under pressure, I think.
But Onana's been instructed, it seems, to when he's under pressure to kick long, and that's caused us issues because his passes have been a bit wayward, kicking long at times. But also, we don't actually have anyone up front who can reliably actually receive that ball.
Yeah.
So Onana kicks long, and then Højlund loses the ball, or you've got Garnacho trying to win something in the air, which he's not good at because he's not that type of player, right? And then the ball ends up coming back to us again. So this is what I mean in terms of it's not necessarily purely down to him. There are some ways of Onana's, to some extent, suffered from not being used correctly, but also as well, he's had some absolute howlers, which has meant that there isn't the trust to keep him longer term to then use him correctly. But this leads me perfectly onto the final point I want to ask today. So I was sat last night watching that Inter Milan-Barcelona game, pretty much my jaw on the floor the entire time because it was just such an outrageously incredible match of football. And I was sat there thinking, we are so far from these teams. Right, I was watching Barcelona and I was watching Inter Milan, like how these teams were playing each other. Same with the when Arsenal were playing Real Madrid and when Arsenal were playing PSG, I was watching PSG and just being like, these guys are just so good. These are like pure as footballers. These guys are amazing. Enrique, manager, fantastic, and all these teams. And obviously we're fighting to get back into the Champions League. And Amorim's was asked in the press conference about, do United deserve to be there in the way of, are they actually a Champions League level side? And whatever you think about that is whatever you think about that. Maybe like we deserve to be there because of our heritage as 3-time Champions League winners. As Manchester United, realistically, one of the top 2-3 biggest clubs in world football, in cross sport almost. But also we're 15th, 14th in the league. We've been shocking this season. But so what I want to ask is not necessarily do they deserve to be there right now, but how far is the club and Amorim's squad from being a Champions League level side? Not necessarily just a team who should be in that league table, but a team who should be in the last 8, in the last 16. How far are we from that? And what do we need to do this summer to actually get there?
We can fit in the league table in terms of the last 8, last 16. We're far, but winning the Europa League makes us much closer to it because of the financial boost that we get to then be able to sign players who can bridge that gap a little bit. And I think that even with those signings, we still won't be good enough to be a kind of last 8, last 4 Champions League team. But like also we've seen these guys can turn up for one-off games. Like Arsenal, for example, are a team in the last 4 of the Champions League, and we went toe-to-toe with them because they turned up for a one-off game. So like, if you can get a better squad and also get more consistency out of what we have, then you never know. I'm not saying we're going to be one of the top teams in the Champions League next season, but I think that, okay, if you look at it right now, do we deserve to be in the Champions League? No. But if we win the Europa League, we win the Europa League, like we've earned it. And then, that Europa League allows us to bridge the gap because it allows us to sign players who can make us better. And it also gives the current players we have belief, okay, this is what you are capable of. Actually, now start doing more. Mm-hmm. It allows us to raise the standard a bit.
And so what this summer needs to happen to get us as close as possible to being in the direction, if that makes sense? I know you can just say sign players, but I was going to ask more specifically. So obviously we're on the verge of, it seems, signing Cunha. We want a player. There's been loads of links to Delap. There's links to midfielders. There's not a lot of links to centre backs at the moment.
Yeah, I don't.
But where.
Tar, isn't it?
Well, we have been linked to Tar, but that he is a free agent. So I'm slightly looking at that and going, okay, is that agent talk?
Yeah,
because he can sign for anyone. He's like 29, 30, and obviously United are a club who would be looking at the free agent market to some extent because of our financial
doesn't
thing.
fit in our policies.
Yeah. Don't know how much I believe that. I believe he might be on the list purely because he's a free agent, but I don't know if we're going, that's the boy we want. But I want to know, for example, I want to know what are your thoughts specifically, Joe, on signing Cunha? Is Delap the right idea over someone like Gyökeres or Osimhen or Jonathan David? And who to make us more of a Champions League level club, who should be going?
Ooh, well, I'll tell you something. First of all, I think Amorim's kind of ruled out the Jonathan Delap thing. I mean, not Jonathan Delap, the Delap thing. Sorry, always forget his first name. Liam Delap. Yeah, he's ruled that out with what he said.
It
was interesting yesterday what he said, wasn't it? So he was asked yesterday about, he was basically asked, would you rather sign a younger striker, like kind of in layman's terms, would you rather sign a younger striker or a striker with more experience? And his answer was, he answered it and didn't answer it. He just said, I want to improve the players we currently have.
That's the diplomatic response.
It's kind of what he said.
The bit where he said, oh no, I don't want players who are waiting to play for certain competitions. I want players to play for Man United.
Oh yeah, that as well.
And in the situation right now, what we have is Liam Delap waiting to see if we qualify for Champions League.
Well, I think that report was more based on Liam Delap's waiting to see where all of his, because he's got so many clubs who want to sign him. Mm-hmm. He's waiting to see the final positions of where everyone's going to be next season, which I think is fair. But I think that's fair for him to just wait, to hold back and wait and see what happens before making a decision. Because it's not like with our thing for Cunha, we're by far and away the team that wants him the most. Delap's he's got the world at his feet. So I think in Delap's case, it is fair that he's sitting there and waiting to see what happens.
I personally think Newcastle's the best move, to be honest.
I feel like for his development, probably.
If Isak leaves, him under Eddie Howe, it's like he replaces Isak well in terms of profile fit, but him under Eddie Howe, he provides the culture and the platform for him to really level up, and I don't think he'll get that United. So my opinion is Delap should, for his own sake, go
So
to
do you not
Newcastle.
believe in Amorim as a manager then, as developing
No,
these players?
I believe it,
He
but
took Gyökeres from Championship, didn't he? And he turned him into an amazing now. He's everybody's trying to buy him.
But you
So
look,
why can't you do
to
that
be
with
fair,
Gnabry?
Gyökeres was good enough at that point to go to the Premier League. But you look at like the culture and like the environment at Man United, like it's still a lot to fix, and Amorim can't fix all that by himself. Whereas Newcastle, their culture is so like
Yeah, but Amorim doesn't
strong.
need to fix it by himself because
Yeah.
I like personally, I really like who else we have. I like Jason Wilcox. I've been very public in this. I really like Omar Barada.
Okay.
I like everything he says, the things we've been doing. I like Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I'm not as sold on, but it's fine because he's not
Running things,
specific. He's not running things, so that's okay. He's made some hires that I really like in terms of Wilcox, Amorim, keeping Darren Fletcher, keeping Nick Cox, and then we've got obviously Binnen and Adam Lawrence in the academy as well. I think we've got the right people to change that. So Amorim doesn't need to be the big man changer. He's the face of it,
Yeah.
the face of the changing the culture. But I think that in terms of changing the culture, the club are actually in a really good stead.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but then it's still going to take time for that culture to change. It's
Then
not
that's
an overnight
fine.
job,
Well, I mean,
but
they've
yeah.
been kicking out the big names like the Rashfords, the Sanchos, they're gone, you know what I mean? The Sancho wasn't even really an Amorim decision, that was a board decision, you know, they got rid of Sancho before
Yeah.
Amorim was even there. So I think they're on the right track in terms of like bringing the culture back to where it needs to be at the club.
Yeah,
And supporting him with the Rashford thing was also a sign that they're willing to get rid of big names to make the culture right again.
Yeah, I do feel Eddie Howe, in terms of how he platforms his players right now, is better at that than Amorim is right now. I feel like Amorim wants his players to fit something, whereas Eddie Howe is trying to fit to his players.
Ooh, I wish I had a bomb because you know what? I have been cussing. I have been cussing about Amorim for a long time now, and he's not adaptable. He's adaptable in terms of he can put players in different positions,
I think
and he can drop back deeper. But what about the players?
I think
what about playing to their
Amorim
strengths?
will show more adaptation in the long run, but I feel like now he's trying to instill, okay, this is my way. He's trying to like, you know, set a standard and like, you know, establish himself, which I think is fair, but I feel like he could have gone about it in a better way personally, which I've said on this podcast many times. And like, I like Amorim. I think he's a good manager, but I think that like there are things he's done that I disagree with, to be honest.
That's fair, and to a certain extent, I agree as well. But one thing I would posit to you, Joe, is you just said you don't think like he's playing to the player's strengths. We've just spent 5-10 minutes talking about him doing exactly that with Casemiro.
No,
So
no,
do you
he
not
only
think
just
he has-
figured it out. He only
Yeah, but
there's the
that's
thing.
because
But he was
he's
so
in-
stubborn because he only played him when he needed him. That's the thing. He was ready to leave him out the team, and then when he called upon him, Casemiro done his job. And like, now I know how to use him.
Yeah, but is that not a good thing?
No, tell man move, blood. No, fam, about nah. No, it's a good thing, but you learned only because you needed him. It wasn't because he was actually in the back developing what he was trying to develop. You stumbled upon greatness, put it that way, and he was sitting there the whole time. That's what it feels like to me with Amorim. Amorim has been stumbling through his United career so far, by the way. That's what I'm saying to you right now.
But do you think he's had any other choice but to stumble? Because he's not had... I know people bang on about it, and I know people get sick about this, but I do completely agree with the thing that he couldn't... The only time he could see his players for the first 2 months of the club was when he was selecting them. Like what?
Yeah, fair.
Like yeah, and like how? Like that doesn't help him at all.
No.
So when we
But
have
who
6
thought that?
weeks,
It's I'm not blaming him for that. You know, this is the thing. You can't blame him for the situation he was thrown into because he did say he didn't want to come. He wanted to come at the end of the season, have a pre-season, do all of this. We've had this conversation a lot on the Reckless Sports, yeah, about how he is basically been dashed in the deep end, and we shouldn't really jump on his back right now until he had at least one transfer window, yeah, a serious transfer window, not a January transfer window, yeah. So, look. I've been very critical, and then I've put my hands up and said, I'm going to lay off him for now. Yeah, I'm going to leave it be until he actually gets at least 4 or 5 players of his own. Yeah, not some random guy that he got, you know, this, how old is he, Dorgu? I think
20.
You know what I mean? Like some random guy who nobody even knew from a relegating team. Like, why would you? Anyway, this guy is not the kind of player that you need to bring to Manchester United to help this guy do anything. Yeah, that's another developmental player that is just going to be on the books and maybe get sold if he doesn't work out.
Yeah,
we need someone to work now.
This is what I've said so many times on this podcast. I feel like we need more experienced players than we need youth players in this summer. I feel like we've
but
got
then
so
also
many...
at the same time, I am going to be devil's advocate here. Then at the same time, you don't like the Cunha deal.
No, I don't.
Oh, don't you?
No.
Why?
But he's a 25-year-old with loads of experience
Because
coming in.
it's the actual player himself. I
think it's the price. Is it the money?
Not even that. No, I don't mind spending big money on good players. I think Cunha is very good. I just think he whilst he raises our floor now, he caps our ceiling. I feel
Why?
like
You can always sell him.
Yeah, but I'd rather not have to buy a player with the idea like, okay, we'll sell him in we'll need to sell him in 2-3 years. Like,
but why is the idea? Okay, where are you getting this idea from that he caps our ceiling? Then explain this one to me. Why does he cap our ceiling?
So in my opinion, Cunha is at his best when he's like the main man of like an upper level like Europa team or whatever.
Okay.
Not the same type like player, but same kind of status in the team as Grealish.
Or Zaha at Palace.
Yeah, or Zaha at Palace.
I see what
you
you're
know,
saying, yeah.
I feel like that's what Cunha fits well. I feel like he, you know, I don't know how well he fits in at Man United in terms of, okay, now he can take over the attack a little bit and like help, but then when the attack gets better and he has to be a player in the attack, not the player in the attack, is he gonna be
adaptable to that?
So best as a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, exactly. That is what I'm trying to say. And also he's in terms of his role he likes to play, he's very, very niche. And I'm trying to move away from signing players who belong in such niche roles.
But this is Amorim's whole thing right now, yeah? This is the problem. And this is why I've been scared, because I feel like he's going to get fired. Yeah, I'm not being rude, sorry. But I feel like he'll get fired next season if it continues like the way it is. Obviously, he will be fired, yeah? And if he keeps buying all these niche players, because Amorim needs a certain set of players to fit a very specific system. That's the difference between him and someone like, who was you staying there before, other manager that was more adaptable.
Ten Hag.
Let's not say that. I'm not going to say that name. But with him, I just feel like who's someone else who said it? No. Newcastle manager, Eddie Howe, right? Like he adapts to his players, you were saying, right? Yeah. With him, basically, he needs a certain level, a certain type of player to fit in every single position. So what if he does get fired and we've got all these specific players?
Well, that's exactly why I don't want to sign Cunha. Thank you.
So that's fair, and I do think that this is just. I mean, I might just be more of a slight blind optimist. I am when it comes to football, but I do think the recruitment team need more credit than everyone thinking that they're just going to sign players who only work for Amorim and don't work for anyone else. Because I think what's going on is Amorim's being not overly flexible at the moment because he wants the 7 or 8 players in our team who will probably be here long term to learn what they're doing now. And so when all the rest of the shit's gone, you have 7 or 8 players who really, really know what to do in these positions. And then when he brings in other new players, who I think hopefully will be not necessarily players who can only play in one system, because that doesn't really, I don't think it necessarily exists that players only fit in one system. There are players who are at their best in specific systems. That's just how it works, right? But I do think the recruitment team deserve more credit in going and buying players who will be able to be flexible and adapt. Let's say worst case scenario, he does go and we get a four at the back manager or someone who plays a completely different system, that they're signing players who will be able to cope with that change.
I think he's done a good job. Like the recruitment team has done a good job generally as well. Like the players we signed are not as niche. Like they are fairly flexible.
Because I'd say the players who we signed last summer, they're players who've brought in to play under Ten Hag's system, whatever you want to call it. They're also the same players that have been very good so far on Amorim. De Ligt, fantastic. I think it's been really good. Yoro's been incredible. Nusa Mazwari is fantastic.
Yeah.
Joshua Zirkzee is before his hamstring was really growing into a player. Ugarte is the only one where the jury's out. So far
I like
I like him as well. I think there's questions over how long termness he's good for. But
like
what I'm saying,
you like him because he puts the effort in and like you respect it, but he's not good.
I need a dog. I need a dog on the pitch every single. You know what I mean? We need that dog.
Can we have one who actually wins like more than he loses though?
The point I'm making is that I think the recruitment team, they've shown so far that they are good at identifying players who are more flexible. And the most flexible players in our team are the players they've so far signed, right? Sure. And so I don't see any reason why that won't continue this summer as well. Like the Cunha thing, I understand that because he is best in that role he's been playing at Wolves, but I trust that the recruitment guys that we have are people who will have taken that into consideration and still think that he is a player who can do more than what we've seen.
Of course.
And that's why I forgot what my final point is.
You're saying you was trusting the fact that...
So I think it's a little naive, so to speak, we've used that word a lot, kind of surrounding Amorim at the moment, but a little naive to think that the club are now just going to sign players who can only play as a right centre-back, who can only play as a right wing-back.
I mean,
because what they've done so far has proved that that's not the kind of players they sign.
Yeah.
I feel we'll be overloaded in certain areas, though. That's what I would say, though, in terms of if it doesn't work out, because please, if it's one person, hold on, how much time we got left? I need to ask this question, guys. Yeah?
All right.
What is going to happen if Rashford comes back through that door?
We'll sell him.
Do you feel that their club are going to be able to get Rashford out the door if he doesn't get the right move that he wants? That's the thing.
Yeah.
If they don't get rid of Rashford, that man's time's ticking. That's what I'm going to say to you guys.
Can I just say, best case scenario, actually Rashford comes back and he can sort things out with Amorim and
Don't make me sick.
If he can, cool. But I don't think that's happening.
I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but can
Ousmane
Dembele, for example, right?
Everybody threw up in their mouth.
Ousmane Dembele, for example, yeah. The last time PSG played Arsenal, he was left out earlier in the season. He was left out of the squad for disciplinary issues. Like, how often do we see players? I think people think immediately when a player has a fallout with a manager, it's done. But
Granit Xhaka went from arguing with Arteta to being the club captain.
Yeah, but I mean, he did do what he did to the crowd as well. Do you know what I mean?
I'm backing up Yusuf's point in the way that it's not as black and white.
Yeah, I
do agree.
My personal feeling is Rashford goes, but I think there is a chance that he stays and works it out with Amorim. But can I just say, I'd much rather have Rashford than Cunha.
No, fair enough. I mean, it's each to their own. I mean, Rashford's an amazing player. I think Cunha's a fantastic player as well. I think that's just down to first opinion.
Rashford is a lazy listen, what's Rashford done for you lately to say that you want him back here? What's he done in the Manchester United shirt recently?
Listen, you may be an old man that you've seen all these players come through.
I've seen Rashford for the last how many years?
You may be an old man. I was a kid when Rashford was coming through.
This is one thing. Rashford's a guy that do well. Like say Yusuf and I would have a big attack.
I saw him like a young son to me, yeah? And he came through, bro. And he did not. You see, the thing is, he's given us one great season. And the thing is, I love Rashford. I have loved him for so long. Have you never loved someone and they let you down?
That's way too deep for
No, that's what happened. He's let us down, bro. He grew up with us.
I think the Rashford topic is a separate one. I want to finish just by asking, as I always do, for your score predictions for today. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think a good 1-1 draw, but a 1-1 draw.
We're going to scumbag a win, whether it be 2-1 or 1-0.
I need a specific score.
2-1 because I think we will concede a goal and we will scumbag.
2-1 United.
2-1. I've got to keep this.
2-1 United. I'm going to go. I know Nick's saying 1-1.
You're probably more likely to be right than me, but I've just got to keep this going.
I'm going with a 1-1 draw. 2-1. But either way, if it's a 2-1 win, I'm going to be over the moon. I'll be probably working until like 2 a.m. as well.
I'm coming back if it's 2-1.
I'm going to say it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, Joe, on. Always great to have you guys. Yusuf, we've been recording for too long. Always great to have you as well on, Yusuf. Thank you so much to all the comments. All of you guys have been getting involved below. Let me know your score predictions. Just let me know what you think about what we've talked about. And remember, we are here every Thursday at 12:30 for the What the Devil podcast, and we'll be filming once again. Hopefully, Alice Talks Footy will be on with us next week, and we'll see you then.